Hey guys, welcome back to Carsoni Means. There we're doing NFL Week 8 score predictions. I'm cutting this one kind of close. The Thursday night game starts at 8:20 today, and I'm recording this at 7:20. So hopefully I can get it out right before Thursday night football. And hopefully you don't mind the fact that I put these out near the end of the day. So I've had a very, very busy day. I've had a lot of stuff to do. There was a big storm in my area. It blew my trampoline like across the freaking my neighborhood, and we had to go get it and carry it. It was a long day. Anyway, so we're going to start our Thursday Night Football, like I said, Panthers versus Falcons. So you're either going to be watching this afterwards and you're going to be able to see, how right was Carsonian Means, or you're going to be watching this beforehand, as basically as the game is starting. But anyways, let's go ahead and get into it with the Panthers. Despite the fact, I know they lost last week, they barely lost to the Saints. And that is a feat on its own. The Saints obviously have one of the best offenses. I know they didn't have Michael Thomas, obviously, with an injury, and I think Emmanuel Sanders also. So that doesn't, it isn't as great. But also, they still have a really good defense. And also, the Panthers did manage to halt Drew Brees to only 27 points. So I think, in my opinion, the Panthers defense did pretty well. And the Panthers offense, obviously, they managed to keep it close. It was tied up at the end of the third quarter. They scored 24 points, but that's pretty good in my opinion, especially. It was a very defensive game, but still. The Panthers, in my opinion, I think they're doing really well. When you look at the Falcons, they just lost. They have been doing bad. They're 1-6. The season's really over for them. Obviously, they fired their head coach. They're basically tanking at this point. They lost last week to the Lions. Todd Gurley scored the first game-winning touchdown. And I actually heard a hot mic of Matt Ryan. He was in the huddle. He was like, "Do not score. Whatever you do not score. Get the first down and immediately go down." And you know what he did? He scored. He didn't mean to, but still. Anyways, Falcons, that offense, it was looking explosive early in the season, but afterwards it's just kind of falling off. The Panthers, on the other hand, get kind of close. I expect them to get back up to .500 with a 30-26 win against the Falcons. A really close one here, but I think the Panthers, just the fact that their offense, in my opinion, I think it has been more explosive. I think that obviously their running game has been doing better. They're expected to get Christian McCaffrey back next week, not this game. He's been ruled out for this game officially. But even, Mark Davis has been having a heck of a season so far, and the Panthers, I think, will get the win here. Moving on. And during Sunday, we have Packers versus Vikings, a divisional showdown that was, if you looked at this game early in the season, you would think, this would be a pretty good game for the top of the division, but no. You have a 1-6 team going up against, I think they're either 5-1 or 6-1. I can't remember, but the Packers definitely nowhere near 1-6. That absolute amazing offense of the Packers. These are two teams that, in my opinion, I think they have way better offenses than they do defenses. When you look at the Vikings, and in my opinion, I think their offense isn't anything special either. Alvin Cook is really their only main weapon. Kirk Cousins has not been playing too well at all. And you look at the Packers, Aaron Rodgers has been going off. They have one of the best offenses in the league. While their defense is not as good as their offense, it is at least a pretty formidable defense. Obviously, they're 5-1. You can't do that with no good defense. And the Vikings, on the other hand, their defense is atrocious. On the other hand, I think the Vikings offense is good enough that they can keep it close. And I think that it will be a one-score game, but I think it'll be a 35-27 Packers win here. They will extend their lead on the division. The Vikings, this season, after this game, if they win this game, they still have the tiniest sliver, a tiny little sliver of hope. But I think at this point, 1-7 is kind of where you probably should call it quits. But yeah. Next up, we have Bengals versus Titans. The Titans have been dominating. They're 5-1 right now. They've had a couple really good games. They came really close to beating the Steelers last week, which I think is a win. The way the Steelers have been playing, only undefeated team in the league right now. Of course, the Steelers are. The Titans, they played really well against a really and possibly the best defense in the league that the Steelers have. And their offense has been looking great. Ryan Tannehill, we saw last year, basically, he just handed the ball off. This year, we're starting to see, or we have seen, how good his arm, how good of a quarterback he actually is in the passing game. Look at the Bengals. Obviously, Joe Burrow, definitely not a bust. He came in here and he played about as well as you would expect a rookie quarterback to. Well, better, about as much as Bengals fans would hope that he would. He's definitely not going to be a bust. He's playing better than a lot of rookies have. But he isn't getting much help around that offense. Obviously, they're 5-1. And that defense is, it's really all about Joe Burrow and T. Higgins at this point. Well, not T. Higgins. I think it is T. Higgins, on this offense. And I don't know if that's enough, especially going up against this tough Titans defense. I think it'll be a pretty close one here, but I do think and then the Titans will get the dub 31-27. And yeah, they will go up to 6-1. The Titans, a lot of people, they're definitely not. They're probably not going to go 9-7 again, as we've seen in these past couple years. Next up, we have Chiefs versus Jets. Oh, I mean, I just feel so bad for the Jets. They're 0-7, and you think they gotta catch a break sometime. Nope, they play possibly the best team in the league, or according to my power rankings, the best team in the league. And the Chiefs, defending Super Bowl champions, going up against the probably number one pick of 2020. I don't really have to say anything. The Jets, self-destructing at this point. Definitely by far the worst team. I think it'll be a complete blowout, 38-13. 25-point win by the Chiefs. And, I mean, obviously it's going to be my lock of the week. And basically, any time the Jets are playing a team that's above 2-5 is going to be my lock of the week. And again, I don't sit there and go, oh, the Jets are playing a pretty good team. No, I figure out which game I'm, the most sure of. And, I mean, this week there's a whole heck of a lot of really good games. I think all but 3 of the games this week are 1-point games. By 1 point, I mean, from 0 to 8 games. And there's the fact that it's such a big blowout. Yeah, I think the Chiefs get the win here easily, especially seeing what they did against a far better team in the Broncos last week. Well, not far better. I had them at 31st, but still, that's far better. Every single team in this league is far better than the Jets. Next up, we have Lions versus Colts. The Lions might be one of the, I say this in every single video, I feel like. But the Lions are one of the most underrated teams in the league going up against the Colts. The Colts had their bye week. Phillip Rivers, we saw in the couple weeks before their bye week, he finally started to click in there. This offense is looking really good. This defense, better than I really expected going off this year. And going up against the Lions, they are a pretty good team. I mean, I definitely think their playoff contenders are 3-3. They just beat the Falcons. I think they had a 2-win streak now. They beat the Cardinals. They beat the Falcons. They are looking like a pretty good team. I think it'll be a really good matchup here, but I think it'll all come down to just how good that Colts defense is. Matthew Stafford is a very, very, obviously you got Matthew Stafford, you got Adrian Peterson, who's having a pretty good year in my opinion. But I just don't know if that Lions offense is good enough to keep pace with the Colts offense, especially going up against that tough defense. So I'm going to give the Colts a slim win here, 28-24. But I definitely think the Lions, I think they have a really good game. And I think, this kind of shows they'll be 3-4, but I definitely think that towards the end, obviously, in week 9 they play against Washington. In week 10 they play against Washington. Sorry, I'm a Washington fan, so I know that. Anyways. Next up, we have Ravens versus Steelers. I don't know why the Steelers logo has a blue background, but I hope that doesn't, deter you too much. Definitely going to be a high-scoring game. You look at these Ravens versus Steelers, both teams with really, really good offenses and really, really good defenses. And I think, honestly, both of these offenses are kind of on the same league right now. You have the Ravens, who are all about that running, and then you look at their passing yards, and Lamar Jackson isn't actually having the best year through the air. I think he's only had 2 games where he's over 200 passing yards, which is pretty bad. But obviously they're 5-1, they're doing really well. So all about that defense and their running game and the ability of Lamar Jackson to extend plays and do really well. And you look at the Steelers, and they have it all. I think both of these offenses are some of the best in the league. But then you have to look at the defenses, and in my opinion, I think they both have some of the best defenses in the league. But in my opinion, you look at how the Steelers' defense is just stifling people. In my opinion, I think it's going to be a very high-scoring game, despite how well these defenses are. I think it'll be a very, very entertaining game to watch. I don't know why they haven't moved it up. You have Buccaneers versus Giants as the Monday night game. Why? Come on. I want to watch this game. Okay? I think everyone who is interested in NFL really wants to watch this game. And the fact that, it's not primetime really makes me mad. You have the Eagles versus Cowboys. Who cares about that game? And then you have the Buccaneers versus Giants. Who cares about that game? Come on. But I think it'll be a high-scoring game, and I think it'll come down to the fact that I just think the Steelers' defense is better. I think it's a 42-38 win by the Steelers. They will continue their undefeated streak. They will be 7-0 this season if they win this game. Ravens will fall to 5-2, which is not a bad record at all. It's obviously it's really good, but it's just the fact that passing game isn't what. I don't think their passing game is as good as definitely not as good as it was last year. I think it should always take advantage of that and get the win. Next we have Dolphins versus Rams. The debut debut game, sorry, I can never say that word, of Tua Tagovailoa, the 5th-round pick, obviously, of last year's draft, going up against the Rams, who have been looking great so far. They just put the beat down on Chicago this past Monday. It was only a 14-point game, but really it was a 21-point game in my opinion. They only allowed 3 points on defense. The touchdown they got was a fumble recovery for a touchdown. So while, yes, that shows good things for the Bears, it doesn't really show bad things for the Rams. And that's who we're talking about right now. And the Rams, their offense has also been doing really well. But look at the Dolphins. They had Fitzmagic in there, and he was playing really well. And I think, in my opinion, Tua Tagovailoa is a better quarterback than Ryan Fitzpatrick. Obviously, we haven't seen him play yet, but just going off what we have seen in college and that's really all we have to go off of. In my opinion, I think that Tua Tagovailoa will be a very good quarterback. So I think it'll be a pretty close game. I think it'll all come down to the fact that I think the Dolphins' defense is nowhere near as good as the Rams' defense is. In my opinion, obviously you got Aaron Donald in there, put a lot of a lot of pressure on the rookie quarterback. I don't think you can put a quarterback on a quarterback. And I think that's really, I think it'll be a pretty defensive game by the Rams. Well, no, sorry. I think it'll have a lot to do with defense for the Rams as they get the win here, 31-27. I told you, we're getting a lot of really close games so far. It's because there's so many. This is going to be a really good week. And then the 2 bad games that they have, they put them on Sunday Night Football, Monday Night Football. What are you doing, NFL? You have so many. I'll go through what I think. It's disgusting. You'll see in a second, but come on. Next, we have Bills versus Patriots. Both of these teams, I think, are sloping down. Patriots, obviously, 2-4, have had terrible games. I'm really looking at Cam Newton. He looked atrocious last game. I think he had like a 39 quarterback rating. That is not at all what we expected. Look at the Bills. They managed to get the win against the Jets, but they only scored field goals, and they, at one point, were down 10-0. It was an 18-10 game. Bills definitely sloping down. They lost 2 games pretty embarrassingly, obviously against the Titans, 42-16. And then they go against the Chiefs, and they have a far worse game than I thought they would. And then they have a pretty bad game against the Jets that they win just because the Jets are the Jets. I honestly wouldn't be surprised to hear that the Jets were up 10-0, and Adam Gase was like, "Stop winning, lose. We're 0-6." But still looking at this, the Bills do, it's going to be it's going to be a battle of the defenses. The Patriots, as long as they don't trade Stephon Gilmore for this game, which is definitely a possibility. They obviously put him on the trader block. They're obviously ready to trade him at any moment. Would not be surprised to see a trade happen. I'm just going to, as of right now, Stephon Gilmore is on their team, so I'm just going to assume he's on their team. Look at the Bills, their defense has been really good. And I think it's going to come down to the fact that the Bills' offense still has been doing okay. The Patriots, they scored 12 points against the Broncos. They scored 6 points against the Chiefs, 12 points against the Broncos, and now they scored 6 points against the 49ers. That's what it's going to come down to. And in my opinion, I think the Bills get the win here, 34-27. It's not I wouldn't say it's a very close game, but I still think it's a one-score game. And I think the Bills get the win. They extend their lead on the division. And yeah, moving on, we have Browns versus Raiders, a very good game. The Browns, obviously, they bounced back last week. They showed, hey, we're not bad. Okay, they got completely demolished by the Steelers, and then they come back. They get the win against the Bengals, and now they go against the Raiders, who they lost last week by 25 points. But you also have to look at the fact that although 21 of those points that the Buccaneers scored, hiccuping. The 21 of those points came in the last 7.5 minutes of the game, which, again, that is still the Raiders' fault. But so you have to look at it. It was a close game for most of it. They just got to learn to play they can't just play 53 minutes in a football game. Come on, man. But in my opinion, you got to look at them. And both of these offenses are doing really well. I think both of these teams have better offenses than they do defenses. And I think both of these teams, they're very, very, very similar teams. But I think it's going to come down to the fact that I think the Browns, I think both of these teams are running focused. You can say, you can battle me all you want, but in my opinion, I think the Raiders, they're just going to use Josh Jacobs like crazy. And you look at the Browns, I think their passing game is better. I think Baker Mayfield, he has a lot of good options. I think definitely he could be playing better. A lot of people say he's holding him back. I think that Baker Mayfield isn't as bad as people make him out to be. And look at that running game. Kareem Hunt, obviously one of the best in the league. I think it'll be a really, really close game. 1-point game. And by 1 point, I mean 31-30. It's a 1-point game. The Browns get the win. and they continue their bounce back. They're being pretty inconsistent. But yeah, the Browns get the win over the Raiders. The Raiders, I think they'll drop down to 3-4 or 3-5. I can't remember. Next up, we have Broncos versus Chargers. The Broncos, I thought they would do better if they got Drew Lock back, and they have not. Yeah, I mean, that's just a fact at this point. They lost 43-16, and to add insult to injury, a lot of those points that the Chiefs scored were on defense because Drew Lock just kept on throwing picks. And the Broncos are not looking very good. It's being more and more relevant, it's not relevant, but evident with every game that Drew Lock is probably a bust. And I mean, they're probably going to keep him in for the next couple of years, but I think they'll be back to looking for a quarterback after a few definitely bad games by Drew Lock. You look at the Chargers, though. Talk about a complete 180. You look at Justin Herbert. He's a young quarterback who is playing way above anybody's expectations. He is doing really, really well. He has his team at 2-4, which isn't good at all. It's a pretty bad record. But you look at the games that they play. You look at how well they have played against some of the best teams. 3 of those losses they came against the Chiefs, Saints, and Buccaneers, all of which they made come back. I think it was 24-7 against the Buccaneers. I think it was 20-3 against the Saints, and I think it was like 23-7 or something. I don't know against the Chiefs. They've been playing really well. They finally got the win last week, and going up against this Broncos team, which really, I mean, they just lack in offense. You look at the Chargers. I think they'll have a field day here. Still, though, yeah, I think it's going to be a pretty hefty win here. 9-point win. 28-19 by the Chargers, and I think they will go up to 3-4, and we'll see what they play, but I'm pretty sure that they're going to, in a few weeks, they might be, 6-4 or something. I think they're going to be still in a few weeks. If they do manage to lose, if the Broncos manage to win this game, that'll say a lot, definitely about how good the Chiefs are, which we already know they're really good, but a 43-16 win against a good team would be immaculate. Next up, we have Bears versus Saints. The Bears, 5-2, and they got completely rocked by the Rams, complete decimation of their team. The Bears definitely a full-on defensive team at this point. Their offense is just nothing. They need to figure something out. They definitely still playoff contenders. After this game, they don't really have too many hard games, but they got to figure something out if they want to do anything in the playoffs, actually, or have a chance of winning this division or this game. Going up against the Saints, who I don't think they'll have Michael Thomas back, but they might have Emmanuel Sanders. I'm not exactly sure. Either way, it'll be, I don't know. It might not be the closest game. I just think it comes down to the fact that the Saints have one of the best offenses in the league. I mean, even without Emmanuel Sanders and Michael Thomas, they still have Alvin Kamara, a really good dual threat in this league. He's a running back, but he has actually had a lot of receiving yards, making up for all the injuries they've had at wide receiver thus far this season. And the Saints, in my opinion, I think they'll get the win, a pretty hefty win too, seeing how bad the Bears' offense is. 38-27. Definitely, a pretty good win by the Saints. I think the Bears, they're going to get exposed in this game. They're definitely going to be 5-3, and things are not going to be going too good. And yeah, they remember back when they were 3-0. They've gone 2-2 since then. If they lose this game, they'll have gone 2-3, and they're just probably going to ride this pretty easy schedule they have after this, and probably to a playoff appearance, in my opinion. But we'll see. We'll see. Maybe they'll collapse completely. Maybe they'll realize, hey, we probably need to tank. Anyways. Let's move on. Seahawks versus 49ers. Seahawks last week, brutal loss to the Cardinals. The Cardinals came from behind, brought them into overtime. Russell Wilson threw 3 picks in that game. Seahawks they looked pretty good in that game, but Russell Wilson didn't have his best game that he's ever had. You look at the 49ers, stomped all over the Patriots 33-6. No matter how bad their offense has been playing, that defense is still one of the best in the league. I will stand by that all my days. And you just have to look, and in my opinion, the 49ers, they definitely bounced back. They still have a lot of injuries, and you're seeing what they can do. They are not having a Super Bowl hangover, in my opinion. I think that they are thriving. They're definitely not doing as good as they were last year. You can attribute that to injuries or to the fact that Super Bowl hangover, or they just are regressing. Either way, it's plain to see the 49ers are not doing as well as they were. And Seahawks, on the other hand, doing amazing. One of the best teams in the league. You look at this offense, I think they get the bounce back game here, and I think the Seahawks get the win 31-26. Definitely a really good game. I think the 49ers show that they are still in it. They will be knocked back down to 4-4. If the 49ers manage to beat the Seahawks, I think that will launch them into playoff contender situation. Because right now we're not sure. Are they just a above average pretty good team, or are they a Super Bowl contender a really good team, like a 2019 49ers type team? We don't know, because a lot of those losses came when they had Nick Mullins at quarterback, obviously, against the Eagles. A game that, in my opinion, if they had Jimmy G in there, they would have won. And I think in the Dolphins game, if they had Jimmy G in there before, I think he got a lot of rust from, I mean, he was injured before. That might have had something to do with it. I think, in my opinion, they could be 6-1 at this point if it wasn't for injuries. Just saying. Next up, we have, again, Sunday Night Football, Eagles versus Cowboys. Who wants to watch this game? Who was sitting there saying, oh, I really want to watch the Eagles play the Cowboys? Nobody. They're sitting there saying, oh, I want to watch the Browns play the Raiders. I want to watch the Steelers play the Ravens. Nobody ever wants to watch this game. It's going to be, I mean, you have the Cowboys versus the Eagles. A few weeks ago, great matchup. Right now, Ben DiNucci. Ben DiNucci, the 7th round pick rookie. The Cowboys, they have nothing. Their offense, we saw last year, scored 3 points, and I'll admit it, the Washington football team has one of the best defenses in the league. But you look at this, they allowed 25 points to that pretty bad Washington offense. The Cowboys have possibly the worst defense in the league, and now they have Ben DiNucci at quarterback. Ben DiNucci, who's hurt? No. Easy win by the Eagles. I mean, 27-7. The Eagles aren't very good. A really good team would absolutely smother them. Eagles, in my opinion, I think that their offense is good enough definitely to be better than the Cowboys. I'm sorry if I'm talking. I know I'm talking about the Eagles after I made the point. It's just the fact that who wants to watch this game? Nobody. Now, Monday Night Football, Giants versus the Buccaneers. This is going to be, again, not a good game in the slightest. The Giants having a really bad season, in my opinion. Danny Dimes not playing too well. You look at last week, they did keep it within 1 point with the Eagles, but a lot of that had to do with a couple big plays. Obviously, the famous one, Daniel Jones running for 80 yards. Also, they had a pretty good play for a touchdown with Golden Tate. So, if you take away all the big plays, which again are their fault, but still, most of their offensive drives weren't looking very good. They didn't look very good. The score shows something completely different, but in my opinion, the Giants didn't play too well. Look at the Buccaneers, completely demolition. They beat the what's it called? They beat the Raiders 45-20. Before that, they beat the Packers 38-10. The Buccaneers are definitely one of the best teams in the league. No question about it. The Buccaneers get the win here, 34-21. It was really close to being my game in the week, but I decided, the Giants, that offense has shown flashes, and I'm gonna give them a few extra points. Again, who wants to watch this game? I'm sorry if my mic is getting crazy. Nobody wants to watch this game. They want to watch the Seahawks play the 49ers. They want to watch a good game. They want to watch a game that is going to be competitive. Nobody wants to watch this Giants versus Buccaneers BS. Nobody does. Not a single human being wants. The NFL is probably sitting there. Sorry, I know I never really do this, but I'm going to go back a couple slides. They're sitting here going, how can we make the most money? Cowboys, they have a lot of fans. Let's make them have Monday Night Football or Sunday Night Football every single week, despite the fact that they have one of the worst defense, the worst offenses. Even with Dak Prescott, they weren't doing any good. Now they have Ben freaking DiNucci in at quarterback. Nobody wants to watch this stupid game. Nobody. Now I better stop. I'm yelling at like 8 p.m. Thank you guys so much for watching my rant. We do this kind of stuff every single week. I normally don't rant as much, but it's just so stupid how money hungry they are. I mean, it's so dumb. We've seen them switch. Obviously last week they switched games around. Can they not do it this week? It is disgusting. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Unless you are an NFL commissioner or something, in which case get off my page. I don't care about you. Please solve this crisis here that I'm having. Please subscribe to this house every single week. We do power rankings, we do predictions, we do weekly reactions, Thursday night reactions, Monday night. We do all the good stuff. If you like football, this is the place for you to be. Right now, go ahead and subscribe. We also have I also have a Twitter and an Instagram. I'd be very grateful if you went ahead and follow those. They're both in my description. Go ahead and click on the description box. The links are right in there. I said leave for a second. Nope, it's just me. I'm going to go watch the Panthers play the Falcons. Of course, after I make the thumbnail and all that, but you don't care about that. All you care about is football. All right. This is a terrible show. I hope, let me know in the comments what you think about this stupid Monday night, Sunday night football thing. Let me know what you think the scores are. Disagree with me. Let me know. I enjoy, getting into conversations in the comments. It's one of the better things about being a YouTuber.